Good morning, everyone. Now, in today's video, we're going to talk more about these fermenting bacteria and fungi invaders. Well, it turns out that these little critters are a major cause of IBS and leaky gut. Now, the question is, how and why? Well, in order to thrive, they need an environment that includes a small amount of oxygen. Why? Because these species of bacteria and fungi need oxygen to ferment their food, to get the energy they need to live, multiply, and flourish. Now, the same thing is happening when you see a rotten piece of fruit, and it's being rotted or fermented by the same specific bacteria and fungi for the same reasons. Now, back to that diagram of our intestines, and I've coloured the oxygenated area in blue, just so we can follow it easier. Our stomach, in the top of the small intestine, our mouth end, naturally always has some oxygen floating around, coming from us swallowing, gagging, or whatever, and mixed in with much of the food that we eat. As for their food, it so happens that our modern diet today consists of highly inflammatory seed oils, alcohol, fructose, which is a sweetening chemical found in sugar that we eat, glucose, which also makes up the sugar that we eat, along with all the grain flour products, bread, cakes, pizza, and all the non-nutritious processed foods of all kinds. And we are consuming it many times in a day and even into the night. Some people are snacking more than 20 times a day, and some extremes are continually snacking in every waking hour. And there is the point. Boom! It just so happens that this food supply is used by all the bad fermenting bacteria, fungi, and others. And they are so effective at using that food and using the nutrition that we are meant to absorb, that in many cases very little can be left for us, and we humans can end up being deficient and very, very unhealthy. A good example is our vital vitamin B12, which they rob direct from that mucus store chamber on the lining inside our gut, leaving very little for us. And another example is how they can tap into our blood supply. Blood supply? Ooh, more on that later. Like robbers robbing the bank. Just the same. And there it is. Yes, inside our human body is the perfect, warm, damp, safe environment with food and even a supply of oxygen located in the upper part of our small intestine, all provided by us for free, if they can only get to it. That's right. Now, ironically, they cannot ferment and therefore survive on natural fats and proteins. So keep that one in mind. Therefore, our poor diet, high stress levels coming from a multitude of different things, the perfect location being in the upper small intestine, our natural defense system which has been shut down, more on that coming up, plus a bit of luck's important too, allows those bugs to set up shop inside us and over time wreak the health havoc that we can experience. Now, ironically, those fungi and bacteria can be tested for in our health system, but seldom are. Now, the question is, where do they normally live? Well, it turns out they happen to be floating in the air all around us, right around the world, in the same manner as the flu virus does. That's right. And they also live on every surface that we come into contact with. They are naturally waiting in a dormant state, ready to drift into any environment that is perfect for them, where they immediately come alive, set up shop, multiply and divide and expand their numbers. And it could just as easily be the fallen fruit from the tree. That's right. But on this occasion, it turns out to be inside our body. And the damage they do creates the pain we feel, irritable bowel, and over time it's leaky gut. So how do they get inside us? Well, very easy. Every time we lick our lips or swallow or eat food and or drink, those bugs, for want of a better word, always, always end up in our stomach. That's the first stop, and it's just how it works. However, our body has an ancient and very efficient defense system that on most occasions prevents these bugs from entering inside our body and surviving there. In a healthy human, that defense system always kills them off, and they end up being digested and used as more nutrition for us. That's right. Now, that defense system includes a chemical in our gut called bile. You've heard of that. The continual movement of all food down the small intestine and eventually into our large intestine, where there is zero oxygen. Remembering that these particular fungi and bacteria need oxygen to survive. A healthy immune system which recognizes them as an enemy and attacks and kills them straight away. And plenty of determined good bacteria in our large intestine which don't need oxygen to live, which also kills them off. And then we poop out their remains. Bingo. But it all starts with the high acid content in our stomach. Yes, stomach acid. That's right. Now, in the next video, we'll talk more about that stomach acid, and it will explain how any human with special attention to those considering bariatric surgery, stomach reduction, can end up with irritable bowel and leaky gut syndrome. As we move forward, I hope you are comparing your own situation with this information. Okay, nice job everyone. We'll catch you later. Bye-bye.